Okay, Shannon, put us back on, please. All right, Mr. McFarland, any objection to Defendant's Exhibit A?
No objection to defendants exhibit A, B, or C, Your Honor.
I will show them all as being admitted without objection. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. White.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, Mr. Rush, you also forwarded me your 2020 W-2 that showed $129,931.86. Does that sound right to you?
Yes, sir.
That's gone up some from 2019. Can you explain to the court what happened with your income?
Just our workload for the year. They had more overtime this year, more storm work.
Now, have you had some health issues that have occurred since our divorce trial back in September of 2018?
Yes, sir. I had a heart attack in 2019 and had quadruple bypass. And then last year, one of the bypasses failed and I had to have stents put in.
What's your health like now, Mr. Russ?
It's getting better now. I'm dieting, losing weight.
Does that heart issue impact your ability to work overtime?
It's more strain to do it. I mean, trying to get rest and stuff, things like that. Just
Now, you provided me also and provided the court your last pay stub, which is through January 31st, 2021. Do you recall that?
yes, sir.
It looks like your year to date at that point was $11,501.40.
Yeah.
I got that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, we're early in the year. When's the busy overtime season for you in the calendar year, Mr. Russ?
Usually, like I said, it starts around April, beginning of April to mid-April, and it carries through till towards the end of October.
So your income fluctuates during the year. Do you have any idea what you anticipate making this year based on overtime? Is it possible to know?
No, sir, not really.
Speculation. I'll withdraw.
So it's not possible to know.
No, sir.
Do you have anything planned further in regard to your heart?
No, sir, they're just monitoring it right now. I had to have a couple procedures done on my legs to help with circulation and stuff. Just monitoring it right now.
So I'm kind of roughly doing some numbers here. It looks as though since the trial occurred, your income has dropped by over $20,000 a year. Have I got that about right?
Yes, sir.
Have your bills changed in any particular amount during that time?
No, sir, not really.
When we went through during that time, we went through your budget, nothing particular has changed.
No, sir.
It's simply an income-based change in your life as well as the heart attack.
Yes, sir.
You're asking the court to reduce your spousal support obligation in a percentage based on what the court ruled back in September of 2018.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. That's all I have for now, Your Honor.
Questions, Mr. McFarland?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Russ, you had indicated that there are seasons in your employment where you get overtime and seasons where you do not get overtime. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Was that the case in the year 2017?
Yes, sir.
Was that the case in the year 2018 when the judgment was entered?
Yes, sir.
Right. You had testified that your income had gone down by $20,000 since the time the divorce judgment had been entered. Was that your testimony a few minutes ago?
Yes, sir. I believe at the time of the divorce, that was a projected income that was used, and I did not make anywhere near what was projected.
All right. but your income, you would agree for the year 2020 was, as it says on your exhibit B, was $129,404, correct?
Yes.
Okay. That's certainly not $20,000 less. Would you agree?
No, sir, it's about 15 less, I believe, than what was projected for that year.
Your testimony earlier was that alimony had been based off 136,000. Is that correct?
No, sir, I believe it was based off 145.
I have no further question.
Mr. Russ, what kind of work do you do?
I am a field leader for Consumers Energy in the gas division. I oversee crews doing gas construction.
So none of your overtime is storm related. It's all just based on how busy your company happens to be in installing gas lines.
Part of my income this past year in 2020 was that I was able to pick up some storm duty as a dispatcher, but it's limited what I get in that aspect. But yes, our workforce is considered a seasonal workforce. They do not work year round. So they're off even right now as we speak. They're not coming back until February 22nd. They've been off since the beginning of the year. They come back and we progress into getting our projects going. And then as time moves on, overtime is based basically on the necessity of keeping our projects on time. And then as the year starts to come to an end and we start closing things out, the overtime falls back off again.
So the field crews that you oversee actually get laid off when there's no active construction?
Yes, sir. That
Going
year
on.
was a 6-week layoff. Yes, sir.
But you continue to work, but just 40
I would-
hours rather than overtime.
This year was the first year I was given the option to work during the layoff because of the way our project layout has changed. We've gone from doing many small projects across the state to just several centralized large projects. So it's a whole change of the way they're doing the business now. So they gave us the option this year to not take the layoff and help get this new system implemented.
Any further questions, Mr. White or Mr. McFarland, based upon my questions?
I have a couple, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Well, Mr. Russ, when we filed this, by looking at my math, actually, it looks as though for 2019, back the year ago when we filed this, you actually had a $27,000 a year change in income based on what the judge had put you in at, right?
Yes, sir.
And then the next one would have been $16,000.
Yes, sir.
Now, I was trying to do some math. It looks like your salary is about $117,000. I have that about right?
I think my base salary is somewhere around there. I'm not exactly sure. It's kind of prorated because of the layoff. So I don't fully understand how it works, but I think it was around 117, I believe.
Okay. That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
Any further proofs, Mr. White?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. McFarland?
Yes, Your Honor, I have no further questions from Mr. Russ. I would call my first witness and only witness, Ms. Russ.
Ma'am, would you raise your right hand, please? You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
You can put your hand down now. State your full name, please.
Kimberly Marie Russ.
Go ahead, counsel.
All right, Your Honor, we had submitted to the court my client's W-2s for 2020. I would ask the court if the court had received that, and I would also ask Mr. White if he had received that.
I have in front of me 10 exhibits that were received from your office.
There should be another
First
two on
one.
top of that.
Was there a separate email? Hold on.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, hold on. I do have some other stuff here, but there wasn't a cover. So besides the 10 numbered exhibits that are referenced in your Friday email, what else did you submit?
At 4:39 on Friday, I submitted two additional ones, Your Honor. If you want me to say what they were, I will, but I just want to let you know what time they were sent, at 4:39 p.m. And they were sent to Ms. Wood and to Mr. White.
Okay, I see that now. Proof of my client's date of disability and proof of debt payments by my clients. So yes,
Yes, Your
I have
Honor.
those.
Okay, all right. Ms. Russ, may I proceed, Your Honor?
You may.
All right. Ms. Russ, you have given me a document from your employer with is this with a W-2 indication on it? Where did you get this from?
From my work, from Allegiance.
Okay. And is this accurate? Is this an accurate reflection of your income for the year 2020?
Yes, sir.
And is this actually your W-2s that you received from your employer?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'd ask that, since I'm numbers instead of letters, I would ask that plaintiff's exhibit 1 be introduced into evidence.
Objection?
No, Your Honor.
Ma'am,
All right.
Does this-
Do you mind if we put a mark later?
No.
Okay. It'll be more efficient if we do it that way. All right, exhibit 1 is admitted.
ma'am,
Wait, just a second. My clerk asked me a question.
I'm sorry.
Plaintiff's 2020 W-2. Go ahead.
All right, ma'am, does this reflect your entire income for last year?
Yes, sir.
Were you working any overtime last year?
No, none.
All right. Did you work all 12 months of 2020?
No, I only worked until August 3rd and I have not worked since
Why have you not worked further than August 3rd, 2020?
because of my different disabilities. I'm no longer able to work.
Right, so you stated a few seconds ago your different disabilities. Can you please state for the record what you are referring to?
I have lupus, which attacks my body and causes major issues. Since the last time we were in court, I've had 6 surgeries
What were the 6 surgeries for?
for different issues of where my body has attacked itself. I've had 3 back surgeries and I've had 3 additional surgeries
And were those 3 additional surgeries related to lupus or something else?
to lupus.
You indicated there were other reasons, are there other reasons other than lupus why you have not gone back to work since August 2020?
No. I did hurt my back and I've not been able to get my back fixed yet due to an infection I incurred, and I'm on antibiotics for 6 more months and I can't get my back fixed for 6 more months. Well, it's going to be after 6 months because they require you to be off the antibiotics for at least 2 months. So I've got another probably till October, November before I can even think about getting my back looked at.
And what year is that you're referring to?
2021.
All right. So this back injury you made reference to, how did that occur?
I was at work lifting a patient. It was supposed to just be an assist, And I was doing it the way I was trained. And when I got her to the car, she dropped dead weight on me. She was a big girl, and it completely pulled me over with her, and my back snapped right in the middle, and I couldn't even get to my car that night. And for a week, I couldn't walk, and it has literally broke my back in the middle.
What type of income have you been receiving since this incident with a patient in your back in August of 2020?
I received one check from work. September 17th, I received one check. And then they said that because I had previous back surgeries, they were going to fight it. And I've not received one penny. I've been living just off of the alimony.
Have you tried for any type of disability or any other sort?
I have. I've been fighting with them back and forth, and I've not received one penny other than
Okay.
September 17th.
How much did you receive on September 17th?
I don't remember the exact, it was just it would have been my normal check for 2 weeks. That was it. 2 weeks after the injury, and I've not received anything since.
And how much money would that have been?
I don't remember. It was,
What's your normal 2 week in salary?
I think I normally would bring home around, after taxes and stuff, I think about 750, 800 maybe.
You had, and this would be in the second stack of information that was sent to the court at 4:39 p.m. There's a document from a Cigna. Who is Cigna?
Cigna is the company that I've been fighting with, going back and forth. That I sent that paperwork to prove that August 3rd was the last day that I worked. That's when I filed it with them.
All right. Your Honor, we would ask for admission of the document from Cigna, which would be Plaintiff's Exhibit 2.
Is this a single page?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
The one that shows the date of disability circled?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objection, Mr. White?
No, Your Honor.
Who is admitted? Shannon. I'm not sure what to call this. That'll work. Go ahead.
Ma'am, what is the Beals Institute as far as your knowledge?
The Beals Institute is my rheumatologist, where I go for my medical issues.
Okay. And when you say medical issues, can you define that, please?
Well, as we talked about in court before, I've got medical issues. I've got lupus. I've got fibromyalgia. My body does attack itself to the point where now, like I said, I'm not able to work. I'm sick a lot, and I have to have lots of surgeries because of what has occurred.
Okay. And the surgeries you're referring to are the 6 that you have previously mentioned?
Those are the ones that I've had. I like I said, I have to have more, but I can't as of right now.
Why do you feel that you need to have more surgeries?
Because of the issues that I have ongoing right now.
Do you know what the other surgeries that you need to still, why do you think you need them? Is that based on your opinion, or have you received any medical consultation that would make you believe?
I have a doctor for each one.
Okay, and when you say each one, what does that mean?
For each medical issue, I have a doctor for each one.
Okay, and so what future surgeries are you required to receive, as is your understanding?
Well, I have to have more surgery on my back. There's going to be 2 surgeries on my back. One is already scheduled for September, if I'm off the antibiotics by then. Both of my feet, they want to do major reconstruction on both of my feet. But that one I'm absolutely scared to death to do. So I don't know when I'm going to have that done. I'm possibly gonna have to have it on my other knee. I just had knee surgery on my left knee. I'm probably gonna have to have it on my right knee too. I'm just a mess. I'm
When
just
you
a mess.
When you say you just had surgery on your knee, which knee was that?
It was my left knee.
And when did you have this surgery?
I had my first surgery on my knee in October. I had to have additional surgeries because when I was in the hospital, it got infected and it never cleared up. And I had to have 3 more surgeries on this knee. I came home on IV antibiotics for 6 weeks, and now I'm on antibiotics for 6 more months. And if it's not completely cleared, I have to have this whole knee taken out and a different one put in with antibiotics inside that knee. And it'll be a year that I got to have that in.
So it's your testimony that you've had surgery on both your knee and your back since
Yes, sir. Yes, I've had 2 surgeries on my back and 4 total on my knee. I had to have 3 surgeries after the first surgery on my knee.
And all during this time period, your testimony is you've been battling with Cigna for any type of
Yes.
coverage?
Yes.
I have no further questions of this witness at this time.
Mr. White?
Ms. Ross, did you have these medical issues that you've been describing in 2020?
In 2020, did I have these medical issues? Yes.
But yet you still managed to make $24,050.88, right?
Yes, I did.
Which is basically the same amount you've made for the last 5 years, isn't it?
No.
Well, in 2017, let's go back to 2016. Do you know what you earned in 2016?
I don't remember.
So would it surprise you to know that Social Security records indicate that in 2016, you made $23,363?
Okay. I wasn't as sick as then. Okay, but go ahead.
About in 2017, 22,981.
Okay.
You remember the year of the trial, you made, I think it was 23,000 and change, wasn't it?
Could have been.
So basically you claim to have all these health injuries and issues, but it sure looks like you continue to earn the same amount year in and year out from your earning records.
Can I respond?
I'm not asking you, no, actually you can't.
Wow.
So you also claim that you're no longer able to work, correct?
I am no longer able to work as of now. No.
And
I want to work. Absolutely love my job. I was there for 17 years. I love my job. I love to work. I can't do it no more.
okay, so do you remember the trial we had back in September of 2018?
Yes.
Do you remember the trial brief that your lawyer back then filed?
Remind me. I don't know what
Well-
a trial brief is.
Well, it's entitled Plaintiff's Trial Brief, and it's a document that your attorney submitted basically what you were going to prove to the court back then. Do you remember that at all? It's about a 9-page document.
I don't remember.
Well, even back in 2018, in your trial brief,
Your Honor,
You talk
I'm going to
about-
object to admission of the trial brief. Certainly that was a brief, but it wasn't an exhibit or evidence in the actual date of the trial.
I'd ask you to take judicial notice of the court file, Your Honor, to actually, clearly I get to use this for cross-examination to somehow say a trial brief wouldn't be evidence now, because you're going to quickly see all the same things that Ms. Russ is bringing up, she brought up 2 years ago, identical. I would ask you to take judicial notice of the trial brief submitted by Ms. Russ.
I can do that, and it's certainly fair game. You can ask her about the trial brief.
Thank you.
Objections overruled.
Well, Ms. Russ, do you remember it all?
No. I don't know what you're talking about. If you remind me, maybe I will. What's a trial brief?
Okay, like I explained once before already, it's something your lawyer submitted on your behalf. Do you remember your lawyer submitting that you were in danger of losing your current job back in 2018?
Absolutely. I
And
was.
that you were
I
diagnosed,
fought hard to stay there.
and that you were diagnosed with lupus, fibromyalgia, and Charcot arthropathy?
Yes,
And in here, it talks about that you're gonna have surgery on both your feet, doesn't it?
yes,
It also says that you have already applied for permanent disability with Social Security, and that due to your medical conditions, you won't live for but another 5 to 7 years. Do you remember that being put in there?
no, he said I was gonna have to file for disability if I got any worse. I was gonna have to file for, that I was looking forward to filing if I got any worse.
Do you want me to read this to you or send it to you? Because that's not what it says.
Okay, well, that was my expectation, was that if I got any worse, I was gonna have to, like I am now.
This,
I knew it was coming. I only stayed working to pay for my medical insurance. I had to fight every day to get to work, to make it through my job every day so I could pay that medical insurance. I would have not been able to have worked as long as what I did if I didn't have to pay the medical insurance.
you understand this is the exact same story you said 2 years ago. Exact same story, same illnesses. I'm not gonna be able to work. I'm on disability.
I never said I was on disability. I never said I was on disability, never. I said in the future, I could see myself having to go on disability if I got any worse. I never said I was on disability. I was still working at the time because we talked about that.
You remember testifying about you were going to be applying for Social Security disability? Because back 2 years ago, you said, I can't work anymore. I mean, you said all these exact same things during the trial. Do you remember that?
You're right. And I have had to fight. I had every single month, I had to fight to get to work because, and we're going to talk about it. My medical insurance was not being paid as ordered. It was not being paid. I had to work every single day in order to pay the medical insurance.
So basically you can work, right?
I cannot work anymore. I cannot work anymore.
And do you have a single doctor here today that's going to testify to say that you're unable to work and that you're disabled?
Yes, I have actually 3
Okay,
doctors that are telling me not to work.
Okay.
No more.
Are they going to testify today? Do you have 3 doctors that I can cross-examine that are going to testify that you're disabled?
Not today, but I swear to you that I have doctors that will tell, if you look at the Beals paperwork that was sent, it said back
Your Honor,
then.
this is really non-responsive. She's talking about a document that's never going to be admitted. The only thing I need to know, Ms. Russ, is you came today, this hearing's been postponed and postponed, none by Mr. Russ, and you show up today with no doctor to say you're disabled. Have I got that right?
My doctor's not.
Is that right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's all I'd have, Your Honor.
Wow.
Redirect.
Yes, I do have redirect. I'm sorry, I didn't hear the judge. Didn't hear you, Judge. Ma'am, you mentioned that in 2020, there was an injury to your back. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Was that something that you were experiencing back? That incident had happened in the year 2020, correct?
Yes. August of 2020.
Was there any incident like that in the year 2019?
No.
Was there any incident like that in the year 2018?
No.
So is this incident in 2020 different than anything you have experienced on your employment since the divorce judgment has been entered?
Yes.
Okay. Is that the root cause as to why you are not at work today?
No.
Your back is not why you're not at work today.
It's part of it. I have several issues as to why I cannot work.
Okay.
My
But,
my back is number one, but my knee is number two. My feet are number three. I cannot work anymore.
but your back was not an issue at the time of the divorce judgment from an injury, was it?
No,
All right, I have no further questions.
So, Ms. Russ, your back was not an issue. I'm looking at your trial brief again, and let me read to you. This is 2018 before your 2020 injury. Plaintiff has undergone 5 back surgeries, including 3 this year. Despite this, the problem has not been corrected and plaintiff may require another back surgery.
and I had another back surgery in
Ma'am,
2019.
you're not responsive. Do you remember that being in your trial brief?
Yes,
So in fact, it is true that you had back problems going back all the way to 2018, including 3 surgeries in 2018 for back problems, right?
I did.
Yes or no?
I did, but it corrected
you.
the problem then.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Russ, the most recent injury to your back that you testified to resulted when you were lifting a patient at work, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you applied for workers' compensation?
I have, and I have a letter of dispute. They disputed it because they said that I had previous back surgery. And so they're saying that it didn't happen because of that. It happened because I had previous back surgery. And because Allegiance is a private owned company, they're allowed to get away with it. That's what I've been
Hold on.
told.
Well, that doesn't compute in my own mind.
And when I filed with Cigna says that, no, we are not going to pay you because it's a work-related injury. So I've not got 1 dime since September.
Do you have an attorney who's representing you in the workers' compensation claim?
No, Your Honor.
You haven't retained someone?
No, I don't have the money. I don't have the money for an attorney for that.
Ma'am, attorneys take those kind of cases on contingencies. They don't ask for money other than maybe some costs. Mr. McFarland, I take it you don't do workers' comp work?
No, Your Honor, I do not.
Well, one thing for sure, you're not going to get workers' compensation benefits if you don't pursue the claim.
Well, I have, Your Honor. I've tried over and over and over, and every single time I get the letter within 5 days saying that it's denied.
Well, that's when you hire a lawyer.
Well, apparently I'm going to
I think
have
you
to.
I think you need to be looking for a lawyer who does workers' compensation claims. All right, that was my only question.
Even, Your Honor, even once I get that taken care of, I'm not going to be able to continue to work because of my other issues. I'm just not going to be able to do it. It's all I can do to get groceries, get back. I can't even get them out of my car on my own. My son has to come over and help me.
I have one question, Your Honor.
Counsel, follow-up questions. Go ahead, Mr. White.
Ms. Russ, have you hired an attorney for any Social Security disability claim?
Not yet,
Thank you.
because I'm fighting.
Any further questions, Mr. McFarland?
Yes, Ms. Russ, you indicated in your testimony a few minutes ago that you had no spare money on a monthly basis. So your income right now is solely the spousal support, correct?
Yes, sir.
Right, and what is your expense for residing where you live?
I pay $1,420 a month for where I live because I signed a lease based on my alimony, which was with my work. I also I have to pay the electrical, I have to pay everything else, but I'm also still paying all of our current bills that he was ordered to pay 75% of. I'm still paying all of those.
And And how much is that you're paying a month for all those bills? That were ordered in the
I've
divorce
turned-
judgment?
I've turned a lot of them into Green Path. They take like $200 and some out of my checking account every month. I'm also
Right.
paying $250 extra a month since the trial for insurance, because I had to get a loan to get my insurance reinstated.
And how much are your utilities running you?
Right now, about 185 a month. I'm currently 3 months behind on my rent. That's just to let you know how far behind I am. I'm 3 months behind in my rent
Why are you 3 months behind in your rent?
because I haven't got any money from work and I'm only living off alimony. That's it. That's enough to pay my car insurance, my electrical bill, get groceries, put gas in my car, and my prescriptions and my health insurance.
How much is the car insurance?
My car insurance is 192, I think, per month.
How much are your prescription medications?
They vary every month, but they're very expensive.
What's the average?
I would say per month between $400 and $500 because I lost my insurance.
This budget that you've just testified to, what will happen to it if your amount of spousal support is reduced?
I'm going to be living under a bridge. I just can't go any lower. I based everything on the alimony. I don't have enough as it is right now. I'm usually negative in my account. Every time I get paid, I'm usually negative in my account right away.
And when you say paid, you mean by spousal support, not income, since you've not had any income since the back incident, correct?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
Mr. White,
Miss Russ, you have a lease that requires you to pay $1,420 a month in rent
Yes.
for one person?
Yes. I'm trying to find something else. There's nothing out there.
When
I
did you
live in
sign
a-
that? When did you sign that lease?
I signed that lease probably 3 months after our hearing.
So how long a lease did you sign?
I signed a 2-year lease and now they want me to sign another year lease, but I won't sign it because I can't afford to stay here. I live in a trailer park and that's how much I pay per month. I pay $14.20.
What trailer park required you to sign a 2-year lease?
Wyndham Hills. If you don't buy, they want you to sign a 2-year lease.
Now, you've known for a year now that Mr. Russ has had a reduction in income, was seeking a reduction in spousal support, haven't you?
Yes.
Have you taken any steps in the last year that this has been pending to prepare for a lesser spousal support amount?
Yes. I can't find, the only place I've been able to find is a house in the hood, downtown Jackson. And I don't feel safe by myself in downtown Jackson. I feel safe here.
You've been on Springport Road, right? There's Granada Apartments. There's tons of apartments on Springport Road. I happen to represent some of those. Is there a reason you didn't look at any of those? Because they're all like $700-800 a month for a 1-bedroom, like $500 less than you're paying.
I haven't looked at those. I lived in an apartment before and I could not get up the steps. I can't get up the steps getting groceries or getting anything in. So I haven't looked at apartments because I moved out of an apartment because of that.
And that $1,420 is the best you could do?
As
This is
of
an
right now,
estimate.
Okay. Do you own a home?
my mom passed away, but the house is not in my name yet.
But you're receiving that home through the probate process, aren't you?
No, not yet. I haven't had the money to get it started.
But once this probate process occurs, you're actually going to have a free home to live in, aren't you?
I'm not going to live in that home. I'm not gonna live in that home. I'm going to probably have to sell it. It's very run down. It's very old. I'm not gonna live in that home. And not only that, she had a second mortgage on it that has to be paid. So by the time I pay the second mortgage and pay all the issues with it, it's gonna be a free, even across the board. And I'm gonna have to pay my other attorney off.
Doesn't your son already live there now?
He does live there only to keep the heat on. Only to keep the heat on in that place.
What's the address of this place?
It's out in Pleasant Lake.
What's the address?
It's on Hankard Road.
You have a street number?
Your Honor, do I have to give him the street number?
Yes.
11301.
Hankard, right?
Yes.
It has electricity and it has heat, right?
Electricity, yeah, heat.
And it has more than one bedroom, doesn't it?
It has two tiny, tiny bedrooms. It's a very old house.
And it's not- It
Go
doesn't
ahead.
cross your mind to move in there with your son and live for free instead of paying Wyndham Hills $1,420?
I can't move in with my son. They have two big dogs and I have cats. I can't move in. I can't move in there.
But your mom has left this home to you, right?
Well, I hope. She did not, she died before she could get the will done, so I hope.
That's all I have for you, Your Honor. Thank you.
Did your mother die with any other children?
With my brother,
So your brother, assuming probate intestacy laws are followed here and there's no will,
He's dead, right?
You,
my brother was killed in a house fire a couple of months ago.
Right, yeah, your brother's deceased, so actually you're the sole person that's gonna inherit it.
that's what I was getting at. I'm sorry to ask a difficult question like that. So you're the sole heir of this house. That's all I was trying to get at.
I am, Your Honor, but like I said, the sewer runs into the pond. The electrical is all messed up. It's blowing fuses. The house is an absolute mess. She had a second mortgage on it. I'm only keeping up on the second mortgage payment just so I can just break free on the thing. It is a horrible house.
So-
And I've promised my other attorney, because of all the attorney stuff, that whatever's left over, I will pay him.
I guess I have more questions, Your Honor.
Well, I would like to redirect.
I think it's Mr. McFarland's turn, but you'll get a chance, Mr. White. I realized I've opened additional areas of inquiry. Go ahead, Mr. McFarland.
Ms. Russ, even if you were to move into this house, wouldn't those lease payments still be out there for your current modular home?
Yes.
And do you have any idea how much the first and second mortgage is on your mother's house?
I pay roughly $600 a month.
When you say you pay, is that you or your son?
My son helps pay it.
Okay.
Because I can't.
I have no further questions.
Mr. White.
Well, you said you pay it. Who actually pays that mortgage payment on the property you're gonna inherit?
My son gives me the money and I make the payment.
Thank you. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Any further proofs, Mr. McFarland?
No, although some of the issues that I bring up through my motion could have an impact on the spousal support, but I just want to let the court know that. I don't want to go into my motion without first the court understanding that.
We're here to take testimony, so if you have a question to ask regarding your motion, I think now's the time to do it.
Okay, I didn't know, Your Honor. I'll go forward. All right, so ma'am, you had me file a motion in this matter as well, correct?
Yes,
All right, and that was a motion to enforce the divorce judgment, is that correct?
yes, sir.
All right, so we've had discussions in the past about your health. Talk to me about your health insurance. What was the health insurance like immediately after the filing of the divorce judgment?
Immediately after the filing, I contacted his employer. We started the COBRA. Everything was good. There was an issue with the address at first. We got that taken care of. They sent a bill. I took it over to Mr. Russ's house. We sat there at his counter. We talked about it. I told him, this is the bill for the insurance. We figured out his portion. I figured out my portion. He said, all right, I'll send in a check for my portion. And I said, okay, I'll send in a check for my portion.
And
Immediately.
Ma'am, one second. So when you talk about proportion, are you talking about the divorce judgment itself, making reference to how much will be paid by you and by the defendant?
Yes, sir. His 75%, mine 25%.
All right, and is that reference on page 4 of the divorce judgment?
Yes.
All right, continue.
So I sent in my amount, and I figured he sent in his amount. I later on, I can't remember, it was probably about, I don't remember, it was about 4 or 5 weeks later, I get a letter telling me that my insurance was canceled. I immediately call them. They tell me it was canceled for non-payment.
Objection as to what, Your Honor, would be hearsay.
If I can redirect her, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
All right, so ma'am, what is your understanding as to why? Don't testify as to what someone has told you, but what was your understanding as to why the COBRA insurance was canceled?
For non-payment of a portion of the amount.
Did you pay your percentage, your 25%?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you talk to the defendant about him making his payment of his 75%?
Yes, I went to his house. We sat at his counter and talked about it.
And what did he say to you? Did he acknowledge that he had paid the 75% or not?
He said he was going to be sending it in.
So in other words, at the time you had that conversation where your understanding was your insurance was about to be canceled, did the defendant acknowledge that he did not pay his 75% to you?
Yes, I made it very clear. I told him, please, please, please make sure you send this in on time.
What's your understanding of what happened with your insurance as next?
About 5 or 6 weeks later, I got the letter telling me that the insurance that I had through his job was canceled because of non-payment. They told me.
When I was asking you about non-payment, my question was referring to that time frame. Had you made your payment?
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right. And had you talked to Mr. Russ about him not making his 75% payment?
Yes.
And did he acknowledge that he didn't make that 75% payment?
Yes.
Okay. Then going forward, what did he tell you he would do?
He said that he would send it in, but I told him it was too late by then, that my insurance was canceled and I was going to have to file an appeal.
Did you file an appeal?
Yes, I did.
All right. And what is your understanding of what happened with that appeal?
They told me it would take 4 to 6
Objection as to
weeks.
what they told her, Your Honor, it's hearsay.
This
I
is
will rephrase the
consumer.
question. I'll rephrase the question, Your Honor.
Raise the question.
All right. So, ma'am, let's go back. Did you file the appeal?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right. Did you get an immediate answer on the appeal?
No,
How
It
long did you have, ma'am? Let me ask the questions, okay? How long did you have to wait for that appeal?
I had to wait 9 months.
All right. Did you ever, what's your understanding of, after that 9 months, of the response from CMS Energy?
I received a letter in the mail. Actually, I'm sorry. It was about 11 months. I'm sorry. After about 11 months, and this, I was calling and calling, and they just kept telling me they were working on it because it was supposed to be 4 to 6 weeks. I got a letter in the mail saying I won my
Objection as to what the letter in the mail would say, Your Honor, be hearsay.
I had.
Your Honor, then I would,
You just, yeah, just ask her, was her appeal successful?
ma'am, was your appeal successful?
Yes,
All right, Your Honor, we have submitted to the court a copy of this letter. We would ask it be admitted as evidence. This would be number 3 on the document that was sent to the court earlier in the day.
This is the CMS letter dated November 26th.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, we'll mark this. I think we're up to 3 now, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objection, Mr. White?
Well, the problem is that, I guess I do, Your Honor, because it's a partial exhibit, really. Perhaps Mason voir dire would straighten that out.
Go ahead.
Ms. Ross, I'm looking at the letter that's listed as proposed exhibit 3. It's dated November 22nd or 26, 2019. You know the letter I'm talking about?
yes,
In the second paragraph, it says, in making its determination, the HWBS considered the facts described in your correspondence making this request, the record of correspondence between the parties, the relevant provisions of the plan, and federal regulations administering such plans. Do you have all of this correspondence and documentation that this letter relies on that we can see today?
I don't have it out. I don't have it out. I didn't know you were going to request that. I don't have it out. But I did have to write them letters and submit documentation to them.
I guess, Your Honor, it's probably going to go more towards the weight, not the admissibility. I don't have any objection to the admission of 3, other than the fact it's missing most of the stuff.
I would. May I make a statement, Your Honor?
3 is admitted, yeah.
Okay,
You can
all right.
ask your
I'll
next
move forward.
question or
I'll move
whatever
forward.
you need to do.
All right, so then, ma'am, after your appeal was successful, did payments then immediately start for this Cobra Health Insurance?
After my appeal was successful, if you look in that letter about halfway down, it said that in order to get it reinstated, my appeal was processed and it was okay, but I had to come up with $6,900 and I think $90 and some change in order to get it reinstated.
Ma'am, the letter indicates $6,930.26. Is that what your testimony is?
Yes,
All right, who paid that money?
I did.
All right, was any of that, was there ever any reimbursement from the defendant of that $6,930.26?
No, sir.
All right. Then going forward, you're aware that the divorce judgment indicated that he was to pay 75% of the cost and you were to pay 25%.
Yes.
Right? Did that occur going
No,
forward?
No,
I'm sorry.
sir.
All right. And did you confront the defendant about him not paying a 75% of your health insurance?
Yes, he said he didn't have the money.
And as a result of the 75% not being paid, what is your understanding of what happened to your health insurance with the Cobra health insurance?
After he just told me he didn't have any money, he didn't respond to me after that. So I was scared to death. I contacted everybody I knew, and literally the day before my deadline was to be cut off, they only gave me 10 days to come up with the money. I got a hold of a family member. They agreed to go get a loan for me, and so that I could pay for the health insurance so it would get reinstated.
And are you still under that coverage right now, under the Cobra health insurance?
No,
Why not?
because I paid the 6,000 whatever, I paid that, and it got reinstated. Everything was going along. I once again went over to his house and took him the next bill. We sat at his counter again, and we went over the amounts as to what his amount was. He wrote a check for $850, I believe. And we figured out that was his portion. We figured out my portion. I went to pay the bill and his check bounced, and it got canceled again. And I lost the coverage for good.
All right, so ma'am, you have given me a document, and this be number, although this is not exhibit, I'm not referring by exhibit, but it is on the email that was sent to the court at email that was sent to the court at 12:13 p.m. Number 4, is it a check for $531? Is that what you're making reference to?
For $531.
No, ma'am. Check number 531.
Oh.
It has your name on it. What is this check?
That's the check I'm talking about.
Right, and who wrote that check to you?
Joe Russ Jr.
Your Honor, we would ask that this be introduced into evidence.
We're up to number 4. Any
Yes, Your Honor.
objection?
No objection, Your Honor. Should be is it 2 pages or just the 1 page?
Okay, so it's 2 pages. One page is a page where it's written to her, and then the second page has NSF on it.
Got it. Yep.
So 2 page exhibit. Shannon, this is a check for $850. 4 is admitted.
Ma'am, did you receive any notification from the bank other than what was the NSF written on the check that it was bounced?
Yes, I received a letter with it stating that it did not clear his bank.
And that would be, Your Honor, we're asking that to be exhibited as entered as Exhibit 5.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
5 is admitted. Shannon, 5 is a letter from South Central Credit Union.
Ma'am, do you have health insurance now?
I do have it. It's a private health
through?
insurance. Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Okay, the question is who, right? How much do you pay on a monthly basis?
I believe it's $744.
Right, that you have submitted, and this would be proposed Exhibit 6 from Blue Cross Blue Shield. Is this have you given me a document that indicates what your current billing is from Blue Cross Blue Shield?
Yes, sir.
Right, and that says on the very first page, $744.32
Yes,
is the cost per month? Your Honor,
yes.
we'd ask that this be, Your Honor, we'd ask that this be admitted. I believe it's Exhibit 6.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor. There's a second page also. Is this going to be another 2? There's a second page attached to it that also mentions that 744.32.
It's just one exhibit, Mr. White.
Okay,
Since they both are,
2 pages.
the second page just fully explains the first.
This is a invoice from Blue Cross Blue Shield. 2 pages, 6 is admitted.
Ma'am, when you had the Cobra health insurance, how much did that run you a month?
Yeah, I remember his portion was 425 and mine was like 150. Something like that. I don't remember exact amounts.
Okay, and now how much do you pay for health insurance based on Blue Cross Blue Shield? What's your
Seven.
portion that you pay?
Well, he's been giving me 425 and I pay the rest.
And how much is that? I'll do some,
I don't remember. I don't remember the exact amount. I'm sorry.
you indicate that he pays you 425, is that correct?
Yes, I sent a copy. He's made the last 9 payments.
Right, does it around $300 or $319 sound correct to you? What you're
Yes,
paying per month?
yes, sir.
Would that be a doubling of what it was under the Cobra?
Yes.
Now, how long under the divorce judgment was this Cobra coverage supposed to last for? Do you remember?
I believe 36 months.
All right, are we still within that time period?
Yes.
Additionally, you are asking the court today now, is that the only, let's go back, one other issue with the health insurance. What were your prescriptions when you had Cobra coverage? How much did you have to pay for them?
Usually nothing. Almost every prescription was covered.
Under your new health insurance from Blue Cross Blue Shield, what is covered when it comes to prescription medication?
Until I pay a deductible of, I believe it's 2,500, I have to pay full price. And
what do you- Go ahead.
once my deductible's met, I still pay $30, $40 per script.
And previous that when you had Cobra coverage, how much did you pay per script?
Usually nothing.
Okay,
His insurance was great.
and what are your prescriptions, what are your prescriptions running right now before you reach the $2,500 mark? What are they running per month?
Oh, they're outrageous. It's usually $400 or $500 a month. At least, at the very least.
Do you get any contributions towards those costs from the defendant?
No.
You've mentioned marital debts, correct?
Yes, sir.
That would be referenced in the divorce judgment. What percentage of, and the list of those debts are in the divorce judgment as well? Is that correct?
75%.
Okay. 1 second, please. That would be on page 10 of 12, the list of debts in the divorce judgment. Ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And that spills over to page 11 as well, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, so of those debts, what is your knowledge? And I'm solely asking, what is your knowledge of what the defendant has contributed towards those debts?
Nothing.
What have you done in regards to the payment of these debts referenced on page 10 through 12 of the divorce judgment?
I pay them all.
Okay, so you're saying there are 17 items listed in the divorce judgment of debt. Is it your testimony that you're paying on all 17 of those?
I'm paying on the ones that were in my name, yes. The ones that was our debts, yes.
Okay, so I just want to clarify. just in case you're confused, are you paying on all 17 or strictly the ones that are in your name?
I guess I'm confused. I would have to see what was on that page. Whatever I was left with, the 75%, I'm paying that, and my 25%, I guess, is
Okay, let's
what
back
you're
up.
asking. Some of those were his debts, were his credit cards. I'm not paying on those. I'm paying on all the debts that was in our marriage.
Okay, so
Dish Network, stuff like that.
number one is American One Credit Union Visa. Are you paying on that?
No, that was his.
Number two is American,
Council, let me stop you for a minute. I'm trying to find what the document you're referring to.
I'm referring to
Judgment,
the
of course, Your Honor, page 10.
page 10,
bottom.
going on to page 11.
All right, hold on.
I'm sorry if I wasn't clear.
No, that's fine. You said it, but I wasn't there yet. And by the time I got there, I couldn't remember what page number you said. So I'm there. Thank you. I've caught up.
Ma'am, other than going through these, all I can do is do that. Number one, you indicated you're not paying on that debt, correct?
Correct.
Do you know what the defendant is?
I don't know.
Number two, American Credit One Union Signature Loan. Are you making payments on that?
No, that was his.
Best Buy credit card, number three, on the divorce judgment.
No, that was his.
Care credit card, $1,000.
I don't remember which one the care credit was.
How
I
about
think-
Allegiance? Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Your ma'am, go ahead.
I don't remember which one the care credit was.
Are you
I
making
turned them
payments on?
all over to Green Path.
Okay, did you turn over Allegiance Health medical bill? For
Yes.
$5,000? Did you
Yes,
turn over, did you turn over to Green Path a veterinarian bill for $2,000?
Yes,
Lending Club loan for $3,373?
yes,
ABC Warehouse credit card debt for $1,500?
yes,
Number nine, credit from the divorce judgment. Now I'm on page 11. Number nine, Credit One bank credit card for $1,909.28. Did you turn that over to Green Path?
yes,
Number 10, Credit One bank credit card for $1,150. Did you turn that over to Green Path?
that one was his.
All right, number 11, Credit One bank credit card for $903. Did you
Yes,
turn that over to Green Path?
yes,
Home Depot credit card for $680. Did you turn that over to Green Path?
yes,
M&M credit card for $622. Did you turn that over to Green Path?
yes,
CP Federal Credit Union overdraft loan, $834. Did you turn that over to Green Path
no, I paid that one.
in full?
Yes,
PayPal credit card, $3,330.48. Did you turn that over to Green Path?
yes,
Allegiance Health Judgment, $3,098.04. Did you turn that over to Green Path?
yes,
And finally, Sam's credit card number 17, $1,380. Did you turn that over to Green Path?
yes,
Okay. And you have submitted a document from Green Path that indicates the payments that you've made through Green Path?
yes, sir.
And that would be, Your Honor, that would be a document that was sent at 4:39 PM. We'd ask if it could be entered as exhibit.
Hold on, let me find it. Oh, okay. I'm looking at, let's see, 1, 2. I'm counting pages.
It would appear at 17, Your Honor.
Well, page 1, I've already admitted as exhibit 2. Page,
Oh.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No. I see now, well, where's page 2? I've got page 1 of 17. And then
Page
it
2, Your
jumps to,
Honor. My
jumps to-
printer accidentally fed it wrong, Your Honor. So it would appear that
Missing every other page, isn't it?
it would appear,
It was two-sided, so I sent it as two-sided.
and we only have one side. So,
Well, the other side was, they were all the same.
it would appear that page 2, et cetera, are on the back of the document, Your Honor. So it goes from
Right, but-
page 2 of 17, 4 of 17, 6 of 17. I apologize for them not being in order.
oh, I see. I see. Well, hold on. Let me put them in order. Okay. So I got 1, 2. Well, and then I'll get them in the right order. But any objection to the admission of, we up to number 5 now?
Yes, Your Honor.
6. Should be 6, Judge. Yes, I have no objection.
6 is admitted.
And ma'am, on these debts that you turned over to Green Path,
Wait,
have any
wait,
payments
wait,
come to
hold
you?
on. Hold
Sure, I'm
on,
sorry.
hold on.
I'm sorry.
So what do you have, Shannon? Blue Cross Blue Shield invoice was marked as 6.
Okay.
So this should be 7. So with that clarification, any objection to admission of 7, Mr. White?
No, Your Honor.
7 is admitted. 7 is Green Path payments.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may.
All right. So, ma'am, of these Green Path bills that you've turned over to, Green Path, have you received any payment from the defendant?
No, sir.
What about the bills that are solely in the defendant's name? Has he asked you or notified you of any payments on those bills?
No, sir.
All right, and then the last issue is, there are 3 qualified domestic relations orders referenced in the divorce judgment. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. Have you contacted the defendant for payment on those?
Immediately after our divorce, I sent several different times. I sent him a copy of what was in the divorce, asking him to please pay his 75% so that I could pay these bills off because I couldn't afford to make the payments on them. But he would never, I sent it certified every time and he would never answer the door. I tried over and over and over. And they said they tried everything and he would never answer the door. So I was unable to do it.
All right, ma'am, is there any further testimony regarding the debts? Because I'd like to move on to the qualified domestic relations orders.
Other than the debts that are listed there, there was a Dish Network that we were in contract when he left. We were in contract.
Ma'am, but ma'am, that's not in the divorce judgment, correct?
No, there was just 2
Okay.
other bills that,
So I need to move on because I can only
Okay.
address.
okay,
So in the retirement accounts, there were 3 qualified domestic relations orders that need to be completed. Is that correct?
yes.
What is your understanding? Well, the judgment specifically on page 7, page 8, and page 9 indicate the division will be 50-50. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Have you had any qualified domestic relations orders done at this point?
1.
Did you ask the defendant for 50% contribution towards the completion of that quadro?
My attorney sent me several letters requesting his 50% so that we could proceed forward, but he got no response. We got nothing. So, no.
All right. Would you like to proceed with the two, would you like to be reimbursed for the 100% of the, do you have any of these quadros done yet? Let me back up.
Just one,
Okay, which one is that?
the consumers.
Okay. And I believe you have an exhibit that you provided, which be a Quadro Express letter to yourself, correct?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, we'd ask that this be admitted as into evidence.
No
Let me
objection.
find it. All right. Quad QDRO Express letter, Shannon. Exhibit 7. Exhibit 8, you're right.
And Your Honor, we are
That's
just,
a two-page document, correct?
yes, Your Honor. We're asking for its admission, not so much that the quadro's been completed, but that my client did contact and make efforts to get the quadro done.
8 is admitted.
Ma'am, has this quadro been completed? I know this letter from December 13, 2019 indicates you had started it. Has it been done?
Yes, sir.
All right, and who paid the entire $500?
I did.
All right, are you asking for a reimbursement on that
Yes, sir.
of the 50%?
Yes,
Are you asking for funds also to complete the 2 other quadros?
yes,
And is it your testimony that efforts in the past to get the money from the defendant have been unsuccessful?
yes.
I have no further questions on my motion.
Mr. White?
Ms. Russ, you don't have any documents today for the hearing that's been pending for months to show that it's the fault of Mr. Russ that your health insurance was canceled.
It was due to non-payment.
But do you have any, what I'm asking you is, you don't have any documents today from Consumers Energy that says it's Joe Russ's fault, do you?
They don't say Joe Russ, no.
Right. And in fact, your divorce was entered in 2018, right? In was it November, October?
Yes.
2018, which is over 2 years ago, right?
Actually, it was granted, I believe it was November, December.
So it's over 2 years ago, right?
Yes,
And a year ago, you remember getting served with Joe's motion to reduce his spousal support, right? Back in February of 2020, Joe first filed his motion to reduce his alimony. Do you remember that?
yes,
Do you remember appearing before Judge LaFlamme on that hearing?
I believe so.
And at no time during that hearing with Judge LaFlamme did you ever mention that Joe's not paying the quadro fees, that Joe's not paying health insurance, or that Joe's not paying bills. You never mentioned that ever, did you, a year ago?
We didn't get that
Is that
far.
correct, ma'am?
I
A year
wasn't
ago, you
allowed.
didn't mention it, right?
We didn't get that far.
Okay, so you didn't mention it a year ago, right?
I wasn't allowed. I remember
weren't-
Judge LaFlame saying we're gonna have to take this to trial because there's too much that we need to talk about. We
So-
didn't bring up any issues.
In fact, I filed a motion, and again, I'll make this a yes or no. Did you at any time during that hearing in February 2020 ever raise the payment of the quadros, the payment of marital bills, or the loss of your health insurance? Yes or no?
Yes, I remember trying.
That's a
but was
yes or no. Again, you
No.
can't explain it,
No.
so no. So if we get a transcript of that hearing from February, your sworn testimony is that you raised these issues all then. Is that correct?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to really the relevance of this. I mean, we're belaboring a point that has almost really no relevance to this case today.
I think it has a lot of relevance. Here we are 2 years later, a year after my client filed his motion, and I get sandbagged with a motion a week ago. I think it's very relevant.
What's the relevance?
Relevance is it goes to whether
If the
she's
money-
being honest. Right? She doesn't have any
If the money-
documentation. I think it goes to show for credibility.
I have all.
Ma'am, please wait. Let the
All right.
judge speak.
I think that the question is argumentative. Let's move on to something else.
Okay. So I'm looking at your motion that you filed. That's the subject apparently of this evidence you're hearing now. First thing you claim in your motion is that Mr. Russ had to pay for 3.5 years for spousal support. You admit that that's simply not true, right?
I was thinking 36 months was 3.5 years. I'm sorry. I got the months off.
And the next one says that the first payment that defendant was to make was late, causing the plaintiff's health insurance to be canceled. You remember putting that on there?
Yes.
And again, you have zero documentation with you today to show any of the dates or that it was canceled because of Mr. Russ's failure, correct?
Asked and answered.
And in number 3, you mentioned that you appealed the cancellation, which took 9 months. Do you have any of the documentation there that's referenced the different letters back and forth that would somehow confirm that this is Joe Russ's fault?
His name is not
Say
on.
yes or no.
No.
Okay. Were you aware that Mr. Russ had sent a payment in May of 2019 to Consumers Energy that was returned because you failed to set up Cobra?
That's not the case. By then it was too late. That $20 or $2,000 was the amount he was supposed to pay, but he sent it in too late. By the time they got his payment, they had already canceled my insurance.
So again, I'll take that as just a no, as a yes or no question.
Your Honor, if he's asking her for details.
I'm not.
I don't remember there being yes or no only. He asked.
I'll make it easy.
I don't even think there's a question pending.
The bounce check that Joe wrote you, did he make good on that?
No,
Did you file a police report?
no,
Did you file any complaint to the court that Joe had written you a bad check for these bills or for the Cobra fees?
no. I didn't want to get him in trouble.
And if the court were to look in the court file, they're going to see that you've never bothered to raise the issue of the payment of the bills or the Cobra or the Quadro until, what, about 10 days ago? If I got that correct?
Your Honor, again, this has already been objected to, and I would argue that it's unduly argumentative.
I just want to make sure that there's nothing in the court file to show that there's anything that she's done up until a week before we had a trial or evidentiary hearing scheduled. That's all.
Because I knew we were going to court.
The court can take judicial notice of its file, and you can make your arguments, Mr. White.
And can you show the letters that were sent to Joe Russ about the payment of the Quadro? You got those ready today from your other lawyer?
What do you mean the letters that were sent? I don't,
You testified earlier that your previous attorney had sent Mr. Russ letters about his responsibility to pay the quadro fees. Do you have any proof at all that that occurred?
Other than him, no, other than him telling me over and over, they kept attempting and got nothing. He wouldn't
But-
respond.
But as far as documentation, just like everything else, you have zero documented proof for any of that, right?
My attorney has that.
Which one?
My divorce attorney.
I mean, we've been pending for an evidentiary hearing for months and
I
months.
didn't know I was gonna need that.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Russ, let me ask you, you've, you've had earnings, is it from Allegiance Health,
Yes,
your
sir.
employer? Were you ever offered insurance through that employment?
I was, but because I was considered part-time, they would almost take my entire check.
I see. And you found that a private policy through Blue Cross was going to be cheaper than what you would have to pay to get the coverage through Allegiance?
Well, I've been off work since then. I've been off work since then, since I had to get the private insurance. So I haven't, I don't even know if I'd be entitled to it right now because they're threatening to fire me.
All right, well, let's back up. You haven't worked since August, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, and I didn't look at the dates of any of this stuff. I was under the impression you were seeking the insurance well before that.
No, the second one just got canceled not too long ago.
The second
The second,
Cobra,
the second time it got canceled, yes. I don't remember the dates, but when I had insurance before, they took almost my whole entire check. And for a long time, he didn't pay anything. So I couldn't have them I couldn't have him take my check.
no, you answer my question. Any redirect, Mr. McFarland?
Ma'am, you were asked questions by counsel for the defendant as to why you didn't have documents regarding whether defendant that had defendant's name on the documents regarding the health insurance being canceled. Why is that?
I don't have documents with his name on it. I just can only testify as to what happened. That's the
Okay.
God's honest truth as to what happened.
Are you testifying regarding documents that you received?
Yes,
And you can't, and you're not producing any documents that Mr. Russ received, is that correct?
right.
Okay, I have no further questions.
So, Mr. White, until I heard the testimony, was not aware that the plaintiff's motion was only recently filed. I got the impression, because of what was said at the beginning of this hearing, that it had been pending for a while and that everything was supposed to be addressed today. And it sounds like perhaps I've never set an evidentiary hearing for that. And if you need some additional time to be able to address what she's raised in her motion seeking payment, I think it's only fair that I give you that opportunity.
Well, it was like a whole like 9 days ago, and we've had different adjournments. And I mean, I'll be frank with the court. I definitely feel sandbagged here, and perhaps we should. I've worked as quickly as I could to get things together for it, but there's some other things I'd like to have for this hearing, I guess.
Mr. McFarland, I think it's only fair that Mr. White have more opportunity to address the various non-payment issues to be adequately prepared for the response. But I don't want this to drag on. I want to get this resolved sooner rather than later for both parties' benefits, so they know what their obligations are going to be going forward.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. White, what would you suggest would be a reasonable time for me to continue this hearing?
Well, I'd hope I could get something back that I need in 3 weeks, I'd hope.
All right, let me have Dawn find something and get with both of you that works on your schedule. Doesn't look like we're going to need a lot more time.
I agree.
No more than an hour or two. All right, so let's do that. Let's close the record today. I want to let the parties go. I want to have an off-the-record conversation with both attorneys. So Mr. and Ms. Russ, Shannon, you can take us off the record. I'm going to remove both of you from the hearing. Your attorneys will speak with you afterwards, I'm sure. But we'll find a date within the next 3 to 4 weeks to get you back in here so we can finish up.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.